All right, Steve, fresh off the press here in Coral Gables, Florida, University of Miami has suspended the women's hoops coach Katie Meier for 3 games, and they haven't really determined or talked about why. They are cooperating with an NCAA investigation. They have stated on Sunday they said that they're cooperating with the NCAA. Neither the school or the NCAA itself have released any specifics. Meier has been with college basketball for over 30 years. And she made a quote earlier today that said, "For over 30 years, I've led my programs with integrity, excellence, equity, and grit." Meier said, and also in a statement, that I have and will continue to collaborate transparently with the NCAA as they review and enforce the matters with the Hurricanes women basketball program. This comes, I would say, as a shock. We don't know exactly what's going on. Miami is in the front with a lot of this NIL deals. I don't know if it has anything to do with NIL, but Miami has definitely been in the forefront in multiple sports, but especially in women's basketball with the addition of both Hannah and Haley Cavender, who have been some top runners with NIL money this year in the University of Miami. I know that you were paying attention to Monday's games, and you heard it from some other games that you were watching. You said during the Louisville game, they were talking about it. Meier is going to be suspended for the game we just saw yesterday on Monday, and then also for the next 2 games as well. This is an interesting time here for Miami. This is a team that was predicted to go 6 in the ACC and have a lot of potential, Steve.
They had a very, very high ceiling. I think that they were hoping that some of the younger players were going to have immediate impacts. Now, Meier is one of those names when you go back to, the Pat Summits of the world and the old school women's college basketball coaches. I mean, she's, like you said, she's been around for over 30 years. The 2 commentators on the ACC network that cover women's basketball for the ACC network during the Cincinnati-Louisville game were both very, they were shocked, first of all, that there was a suspension, but they were very adamant that, they know Coach Meier, intimately, and that they just can't imagine a scenario where there was wrongdoing on the coach's part. They had mentioned that I would probably agree that it is something maybe administrative, and you point up the licensing. I don't think this is going to be an isolated incident at any level of Division I, because there's just too many outside factors that can mess up the reporting and the management of the NIL licenses. So I think it's certainly unfortunate for the Hurricanes team to be without their coach, for 3 games in the beginning of the year, where they're trying to get that rhythm. I think she comes back against Florida International. I believe it'll be the next game that she'll be coaching. But there's going to be speculation that runs wild. First of all, it's the University of Miami. So everybody still thinks it's the 1980s and that crazy football team. So everybody thinks that everything is like the 1980s Hurricanes football team, and that's not the case. It's a high-profile university. That is how they can attract star players there. With that market and the new licensing opportunities for players, you're going to see a lot more, 5-star and 4-star recruits in all sports go to the University of Miami. But hopefully this resolves itself quickly. It does not go any further than the 3 games. I think the fact that they're already participating actively in the investigation with the NCAA, and they announced the suspension, they're already saying, okay, well, whatever happened. We're not going to try to fight it. We're not going to try to get cute. Let's get it out of the way now, so we can then focus on the holiday tournaments and focus on and ACC play down the road.
The only thing that was mentioned so far, because the NCAA nor Miami have released any specifics, Miami is calling it a, quote, enforcement matter, end quote. That's what they're stating this one. Again, really the only thing we know about Miami in the past that has anything to do with any type of NCAA inquiry, if you will, is that in recent months there was something open late last year centered around some name, image, and likeness issues. That's the only reason why I bring up the possibility that
Oh,
it could
no,
come
yeah.
into play with NIL. Not really sure, not making any acquisitions. It's just, the possibility that could be along those lines. Meier is an amazing coach, and she will be missed, even though it's the first 3 games of the season, and it's not anything that Miami shouldn't be able to take care of. Yesterday's game against Maryland Eastern Shore, Thursday's game against Stenson, and then November 13th, she will miss against Boston University. And as you mentioned, she'll return November 16th against Florida Atlantic. Meier has won 324 games, the most in school history for Miami University. That's saying something. She's a past AP Coach of the Year and, of course, a Miami Sports Hall of Famer. We will break down more here at SlasherU when we find out more about this incident. But until then, Miami's women's head coach, Katie Meier, suspended for 3 games.